Bright silver circle of sun above cloud, bright silver circle of sunlit cloud above right sloping shoulder of still dark ridge, silhouette of hummingbird perched on a branch slanting up in left foreground. Man in gray car driving across Maine in the middle of the night, Vivaldi on radio, loud and clear. Man in front of red brick wall admitting that no one talks about Henry James, who claimed he had never taken anyone anywhere. Mrs. Ramsey feeling alone in the presence of her old antagonist, wondering now whether anything would happen. Triangular gray-white cloud hanging in green tree-lined canyon of ridge on the right, gull perched on triangular orange tip of groin sign. 5:11. Pink-white blossom falling across empty column of feeder in lower right foreground, gray-white light coming into sky above the still dark ridge behind it. Man at front of room noting how J. Edgar huddles his G-man under his habiliment, adding that Hedy Lamarr makes me heavily supple. Woman in white car admitting she didn't laugh with her ex-boyfriend. Man next to her recalling getting ex-girlfriend pregnant on his first date. Mrs. Ramsey feeling jealousy she had never expected to feel again. Mr. Ramsey liking these golden reddish girls. White spray blown back from wave breaking across channel. Osprey circling in from the left. 6:11. Blinding white circle of sun rising above still dark ridge and window opposite the unmade yellow and blue bed. Green tobacco plant leaf hanging in pale blue sky and window on the right. Man stopping white truck to ask if blonde man has been in the water. Blonde woman in white pants getting into a blue Mercedes. Man beside gray truck noting his memory of shark attack changes each day. Woman in no sharks t-shirt shifting blonde baby to left breast. Mr. Ramsey raising the book a little to hide his face, wondering if thought ran like an alphabet from A to Z. Nearly motionless flat blue plane extending toward horizon, blue sky tilting above it. 7:11. Plane of bright white cloud moving to the left across pale blue sky above top of ridge. Two finches perched on the dried hemlock stalk behind feeder in lower right foreground. Blonde woman on phone noting her son went and got his diploma for us, wondering if she should throw away her old paperback copy of Hamlet. Woman with hair falling across left cheek claiming Kenneth Koch had told his friends, "Don't look into the abyss," wanting them to write instead about happiness. Mrs. Bast watching her son George scything the grass, quiet like mist rising. Gray-white fog above tip of point, whiteness of turn flapping across overhead. 8:11. Gray whiteness of fog in window opposite unmade yellow and blue bed. Sound of finches on dried hemlock stalk in lower left foreground. Girl next to gray car claiming Moholy Naj wanted to work with shadow. Man in white cloth hat recalling his overviews of people in the street. Hoffman calling color intervals expression of related forces between two or more solid forms. Vision, the stimulus of the optic nerve by light. James and Cam sitting at opposite ends of the boat. Mr. Ramsey looking there and there. Blue-white plane of sky reflected across glassy, nearly motionless plane of channel. Whiteness of turn circling across from left foreground. 9:11. Gray-white fog in front of the invisible ridge in window opposite unmade yellow and blue bed. Red-tailed hawk screeching from right corner. Woman on the radio claiming Mozart finished 7 of Requiem's 12 sections. his wife left with children to feed and no money. CIA operative remembering how husband told her not to believe he was dead. American flag in living room flown above the prison where he was killed. James recalling people in an ordinary tone of voice. The lighthouse, a misty-looking tower with a yellow eye. Blinding silver line of low sun reflecting off left shoulder of wave, breaking into channel. Orange tip of groin sign. 10:11. Width of still dark branch slanting across gray-white sky in upper left corner. Triangular top of smaller green tree below it. Man on right imagining things can light up in their bare presentness, looking at the direct expression of suchness in Dickinson's Four Trees. Woman on phone noting a sense of loneliness when poem is over, which might be like having a friend not die but move away. Mr. Ramsey asking, but why make a fuss about that? Cam thinking that this is what James had been wanting. Gray-white plain of fog lowering across invisible ridge in right corner, edge of the circular green pine on tip of the sandspit below it. Well, that's that. Let's see. One more little bit that I was going to read. I have a few minutes. Oh my gosh, it's like a year and 20 minutes. Is time sped up? These are just current work, calling this work Continuum. It continues to go on. Yeah, well, I'm going to read, let's see. These are very short. Starting with 527. Gray whiteness of fog against invisible top of ridge. Crows calling from branch in foreground. Sound of wave in channel. Which in experience is not a system of positions no less than other, that is, but remains unchanged. First light coming into sky above ridge. Still blackness of trees across from it. By the way, just to interrupt, you might know, but if you didn't, I'm posting these poems on a blog and also on Facebook every day, together with photographs that I take every morning with now this new iPhone camera, which is pretty amazing, but before that with a Sony digital. So the first three lines of each poem are the word image of what the camera sees, looking out at the Tam Ridge from where I live. And then, of course, there's the side out there, which is the third, is a kind of triangulation of the world, the word, and the sound, the wordless image and the image without words. So if you wanted to see these, the photographs are, anyway, that's what's behind this. 528. Light coming into sky above still black ridge, crow flapping from left to right in foreground, wave sounding in channel. Things themselves, the view draws actions apart, puts us closest as viewers, the distance in front. Gray-white of fog to the left of point, circular green pine on tip of sandspit. 529. Horizontal line of light in fog against top of ridge, crow flapping to the left in foreground, no sound of wave in channel. Equation in which the place denotes, depends upon differentiation, line which can be formed. Simple silver circle of sun in fog above ridge, shadowed pine branch on tip of sandspit. 530. Gray whiteness of fog against invisible ridge, red-tailed hawk calling in right foreground, no sound of wave and channel. Methods compared to subject, what in this position one will remember, who then was passing, evidence wingspan of osprey lifting from channel, fog on horizon to the left of the point. 5:31. Gray whiteness of fog against invisible ridge, hummingbird hovering above fence in foreground, sound of wave and channel. Effort of making this color, having seemed another, think of numbers in physics, form seams, distances, gray-white of fog against top of ridge, whiteness of gull standing on sandspit. 6:1. Gray whiteness of fog against invisible plain of ridge, bird moving to the left in foreground, sound of wave and channel, through which setting moves, landscape scene moving leads to zero, atmosphere abstract, alongside silver of sunlight reflected in channel, cloudless blue sky to the left of point. 6:2. Light coming into fog, moving across top of ridge, unseen toei calling chwee in foreground, sound of wave in channel. Thought disclosed as thing, means to pass through, picture shadowed by looking, stop, epistemological. White circle of sun in fog above ridge, shadowed green pine on tip of sandspit. 6:3. Light coming into sky above black plain of ridge, song sparrow calling in field in foreground, wave sounding in channel. Motion of plane takes place. First of coordinates by this means for the first time, repeated, given, cloudless blue sky to the left of point, sunlit green of pine on tip of sandspit. 6:4. Light coming into fog against invisible ridge, bird slanting toward pine branch in foreground, sound of wave and channel, arrives at something, same self as well as one in comparison with whom one, sleeping, was sitting. Silver line of sun reflected in channel, cloudless blue sky to the left of point. 6:5. Light coming into sky above still black ridge, white circle of moon by branches in foreground, sound of wave in channel. Added an inscription, after that blue and yellow, here and there, before this somewhere else. Think, gray rain cloud against plain of ridge, silver of drops splashing into channel. 6:6. Light coming into sky above still black ridge, waning moon across from branches in foreground, wave sounding in channel. Window over there, same way the day, a fixed point to turn the question around, object without which, cloudless blue sky reflected in channel, line of 7 pelicans gliding toward point. 6:7. Light coming into sky above black plain of ridge, waning white moon by branches in foreground, sound of wave and channel. Way into outside of thought, translated as matter, the exact opposite of those that I is, not body. Cloudless blue sky reflected in channel, gibbous moon above point across from it. 6:8. Light coming into sky above still black ridge, whiteness of moon between leaves in foreground, sound of wave and channel. This between 4 variables, which in the same way by distance measured, space also in this, that is, cloudless blue sky to the left of point, gull flapping to the left above channel. 6:9. Light coming into sky above still black plain of ridge, moon across from branch in foreground, sound of wave and channel. The thought of being shaped, change in any way but the other, asked who it was, continued there in it. Wingspan of turn, lifting from sandspit, moon in cloudless blue sky above point. 6:10. Light coming into sky above still black ridge, white half moon next to branches in foreground, wave sounding in channel. Another present form before, which in such cases shape itself insofar as it is something similar, silver circle of sun rising above ridge, whiteness of moon in cloudless blue sky. 6:11, light coming into sky above still black ridge, white half moon next to branches in foreground, sound of wave and channel, taking shape on the horizon, should therefore show other words, color and form, some abstract sense, silver line of sun reflected in channel, whiteness of moon in cloudless blue sky. Thank you.